I can safely say that today is a day that Matt and I have been waiting for quite some time, and this bulkhead here, number 4, which has been in our way inside the hull for, I don't know what, like a month now, ever since we did the cutouts and the glassing of it. We finally get to start installing it. Bulkheads 2 and 3 are already in place there, so now we're just working our way aft, and it's going to feel so nice getting one of the bigger ones in that spans all the way across the deck. And I think once that is in place, we can like really start to see how the boat's laid out. And if you've seen Bulkhead 5 in the past couple of videos where we have to like crawl through the door openings, that's the next one after this. We'll probably need a few sets of hands to get it up on deck into place, but that's gonna be another big one too.
After 8 years of the nomadic life, involving crossing oceans in a 34-foot Sabre, refitting an aluminum boat, and then taking that to the Arctic Circle, we're back at it again with a brand new build. This is Matt and I'm Jessica. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and join us every week as we start our newest project of building a 42-foot catamaran from the ground up.
Okay. So I've got my handy work gloves on now, and
Wimp.
I know. I'm giving Matt the side with the door to work on, and we're just gonna kind of like rotate it around. It should be in place, and then Matt has also set up bars that we can kind of temporarily clamp the bulkhead to while we position and get it ready to glass, which unfortunately won't happen today. I still get to cut all the fiberglass later.
For just this temporary placement, we have the foam here.
Yep.
I have some wedges to kind of shove it into place that might work, and that top thing, and
yeah, because as
experimental.
you can see,
we'll see how this goes.
it's a little slippery.
Yeah, it's a little slippery.
All right, let's go. You got your end?
You got it?
I do. Come back this way. Make sure I don't end up inside the hole. Oh, I've effectively trapped myself. Okay.
Over.
Okay.
If I can get this in.
Here we go. I will use a foot cleat for the
Is
moment.
that? Try to let go.
Okay.
Oh, spoke too soon.
Yep. Foot cleat back in place.
Yep.
Okay.
Should not have said, apparently. Dissatisfied. That actually worked.
The bulkhead we just wedged into place is our forward-most transverse bulkhead. On the guest hull, it creates a support beam which spans over one of the guest bunks. And on the owner's hull, it is the door which will give us access to our shower. Once we'd gotten a good look at it in place, it was time for bulkhead tweaking. Moving it back onto a flat surface where we had access to the bottom, Matt was ready to go at it with an array of blades.
I'll come back and do the jigsaw for that curve.
Okay.
Hopefully. I'll do that area too. We'll move that over and then cut that area.
The first to come out was the circular saw, which helped to cut the angle of the sloping deck. Then, the jigsaw was used to help get a better fit on the spots that sat over the chamfered panels.
Ready for round 2?
We are ready for round 2.
All right, are you going to be on the right side this time?
There's never a wrong side. And now Matt is drilling in a couple of wooden cleats to properly hold it in place. So it looks to be on the starboard side here. The bulkhead is hitting the flange, so that's going to need to be trimmed down right there before it can properly fit into place. If Matt would move his head.
Ha-ha! Yeah, it's a little tight right through here and hitting up there.
So look, there's the door that leads into our shower area. So this is going to be our head. And that is going to be our shower, potentially toilet too. We'll find out. This area here, of course, is going to lead up to the windows. And that's where Georgie's bed is going to be while she just stares out the window all day long.
And the mast, the bulkhead that's supporting the mast is still aft here. That's bulkhead number 5. So this one's kind of just the dividing. This is dividing the shower and giving strength to this forward area. We'll have webs that will come in this area and kind of fill in that chamfer panel there. Whoops. And then we'll have additional ones that come in this direction as well to kind of give that support of the mast as much strength and as much of a beam as possible through here. But this will be a large, like lazarette deck storage. So this deep, and then all of this, there'll be 4 compartments, I believe, going from side to side. So a lot of extra storage area.
And Matt is using a new set of titanium blades for our oscillating tool, which we just received off of our Amazon wish list. So thank you again to everybody who has been keeping us stocked up on all the little necessities that we need for this build. Slide it down into place a little more. Ooh. You're going surfing in there?
Yeah. Hopefully I don't need to wear the mask in there. This thing's huge. Mm-hmm. Then it'll have a comfy little seat here. Sit down. Kind of a drying off area here. And then the vanity will be over here, double bowl sink vanity, or however we have that set up. And then the head will be like right in this area. And then we have the bulkhead door right here to close that off. A little different than Elements or Serendipity, huh?
Both.
Yeah.
Or the Hunter 240 that we started on that porta potty.
Wow, that's incredible.
I can see why you're surfing in here. Until you get floors. This is a huge, huge space. I remember when we went sailing in Thailand with Island Spirit Charters on a 38-foot catamaran, and even with 4 cabins, they managed to have like 2 huge showers, and that was like my big takeaway from that boat was how big and luxurious the shower felt. So this is gonna be one of my favorite spots. Now that we have sat here and lovingly admired our work and this huge transformation that adding one of these larger bulkheads does for the boat, Matt is going through and still making minor adjustments to get the perfect fit. And so within the next few days, hopefully we can get back to this, get it installed, and then move on to bulkhead 5, which is going to be huge. We are back at it again today, where instead of working on the bottom parts of bulkhead 2 and 3, we're working on the inner hull sides at the top part of the bulkheads to get those glassed in as well. So right now I've just mixed up some resin that's heavy on the silica and a little bit of cotton flock just to kind of like thicken it up and make it adhere to surfaces. Matt has put that into a pastry bag, did a nice bead along the seam there, and he's taking one of his squeegees that has been shaped to create a nice cove, so then as soon as that starts to kick a little bit and harden up, we're going to go over and glass that in as well. We've got a toasty 87 degrees Fahrenheit going in the tent today, so we've got a brand new fan in here to keep things cool. Because these 2 bulkheads are now in place and there's like a center section to it that you have to climb through, and there's the potential to like knock and adjust things. He's going to do the aft edge of bulkhead 3 and the forward edge of bulkhead 2, which are both a lot more easily accessible. Just have to go in through the after forward end. And we're going to let those harden. He's going to glass. Woo! Give that a few hours to fully cure, and then he's going to have to climb into the opening for bulkhead 2 and go to like the 2 inner sides of that. another beautiful morning here we're having at Kentmore. But later this afternoon, just after lunch, there are going to be some huge storms coming in through today and through tomorrow, which means with the really high humidity, we probably cannot get to glassing in the bulkheads like we thought. Number 4 was pretty much ready. So instead, we are going to take this day and try to move bulkhead number 5 into place, get that trim, start getting it prepped up. And then I think once the weather clears up in the next 2 to 3 days, hopefully we can just kind of like bang those two out together, get them glassed in, get them in place. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of see what we can do with the weather that we've got. It's gonna be so weird not having this bulkhead resting against the stern anymore. So there are a few ways we're thinking about going about trying to put this up on the deck with just the two of us. And a few days ago, one of our followers dropped off a kind of like crane that we can maybe use to lift these points up, and then Matt and I can slide it on deck and kind of drag it over from there. Or we may end up just trying to lift the bottom points from right there, get them level with the deck, slide it back. So it might take a few attempts, but right now Matt is going in and putting some of our extra padding along the flange side so that when we do go to slide it into place in the deck, it's not scratching up the fiberglass here with those sharp edges.
Now this would be easy enough just to ask for some assistance, but it's more fun trying to figure this out by ourselves.
Yep. Plus the yard is like empty today. We
Yeah.
only decided to do this on everybody's day off.
Yeah.
So the
plan is to twist this, lift it up from this side, shove the jack stand underneath, on both sides, shove the jack stand underneath, and then take long poles, slide them underneath from the bridge deck across to about this position here. So then this area will be resting on that. We'll transition the jack stands to under the poles and kind of strap them, clamp them into place so they don't slide on us. And then we should be able to slide it that direction, we hope. If not, we call in reinforcements.
My guess is that this first attempt, if it works, it's gonna be like a cluster F, and we'll have wished that we brought on extra hands. Who needs extra hands when you've got these guns?
Good job, my dear.
You too, that happened a lot easier than I expected.
Huh. You know, it's kind of the beautiful thing of doing these lightweight foam panels, fiberglass panels, that even though they are very awkward shapes, awkward sizes, they move easily. So, you know, they're really not that heavy. That was shocking how easily. Okay, let's shoot more this way. Now it's on both. Both flanges.
We're gonna have to go higher.
Yep.
I do have to say that already this area feels so much larger without Bulkhead 5 sitting there. Can easily access, well, not at the second, but we'll easily be able to access our entrance into the holes again, walk all the way around here under the deck. So much more room for activities. Again.
Always with
Always thinking about activities.
Yeah.
you remember, not too long ago, Matt and I had gone through the process of remarking the bulkheads from where it came from the factory because we made just little adjustments. So as we get ready to put them in now, we have to make spaces within the webs of the flooring to get it ready. So that's what Matt just did. He cut out the extra space he needed, took a grinder, kind of smoothed that out. So now when we go to put the bulkheads in place, they should sit down in the webbing as we want them to. Let's take a journey to the other side of the hole, shall we?
We'll see.
How it goes. Well, that was a little interesting, but not impossible. And if you had two people with muscle, it would have been a little easier.
You did great.
I did all right.
You did great.
But we will need to do some trimming because right now, actually on both of our sides, we're getting the issue where it's a little wide. And they always, I think at the factory, make them a bit wider so you can make the adjustments to cut them down. Of course, easier to take a little off than to add some on. So right on the whole sides, Matt's gonna have to go and trim to make it fit, and then it should start like falling down into place a little bit more, but
Yeah.
That's, I think, all that today is going to be about, is just making all of those minute adjustments and getting this in its proper place.
And because it is wedged itself in here right now, it's kind of bowing out. You might be able to see, it's actually supposed to be lining up with the black lines on the ground here. And it is off probably a good 6 inches. So there's quite a bit that we need to come off from the hull sides to get it so it'll actually lay in here straight from side to side. But what you're looking at right now is going to be, once we go through, this is going to be the mast support is going to be coming through here. This is the bulkhead that kind of supports the mast. Creates that forward beam along with this bulkhead and along with the upturned area. Creates that forward beam, and then we have a lot of compression that goes in onto this. Right where Jess is standing right now is going to be the galley. So this is the exciting part, because now we are seeing where the salon is going to be. The galley is right where Jess is running, runs fore and aft on this side. And then right about here is the start of the settee. It's going to be an L-shaped settee coming down and around, but this really gives us a good feel as to how everything's going to be laid out.
Once again, it is my favorite time of the week because I get to say thank you to all of our amazing patrons, without whom we would not be out here doing this. There is no way that we could be building this catamaran without their help. So just a small way we can say thank you by getting everybody's name up inside of the catamaran. And this, I'm in between bulkheads 2 and 3 right now, which eventually there will be an area from the deck above me that will get in here. This is going to store our like sails and fenders. So every time we get in here, we'll be reminded of the amazing people that got us this far. This week on our back wall here, I've added some new names, and I can tell this was the moment that we must have announced our intentions for the catamaran build. Crazy to think it was like a year before it actually came into fruition. So thank you for all those who have been waiting so long. But we've got a lot of great names here, and I just want to give a couple of quick shout outs. Over in the corner here, we've got Julian Brown, Julian is a friend that we made back in Plymouth when we were in lockdown, and as soon as things started to ease a little bit, he took us out for a sail on his 10-meter Daz Cat Performance Catamaran, which just kind of helped seal the deal for the two of us that that is what we wanted to be doing with our lives, even if it meant building it from the ground up. And also want to give a shout out to Bob Schultz, whom we had the chance to meet once we got to Annapolis in the fall and had a friend's Seawind 1160 that again took Matt and I on and just got us like really ramped and excited. So yes, so many great patrons on here. Actually, we got Stuart McCullough as well, practicing my Scottish there. Had a chance to meet him in Plymouth. Wonderful dinner at his house, but just so many amazing people. And if you want to get your name up on this catamaran as well, check out our Patreon page. The link is in the description box below, and hopefully I will be writing your name on here too.
Give me your freedom. Whoa, yeah, me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium.